Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
And Nick Diaz's domestic battery case is proceeding in Las Vegas. But the good news for Nick Diaz is the district attorney's bail request has been denied. The prosecutor argued the severe nature of the alleged crime warranted a bail increase to $100,000, prompting Diaz's attorney, Ross Goodman, to counter that alleged victim's story wasn't consistent with her injuries. And the judge, Amy Cellini, ultimately refused the request, saying she can't fathom a reason to increase the bail above the standard set by the court. She appeared to agree that there were inconsistencies in the alleged victim's story that would need to be proven at trial. She added Diaz shouldn't be punished based on his occupation of a professional fighter. Some of you guys might know, some of you might not. When you're a professional fighter, even if you're just a boxer, you gotta register your hands as weapons. If you're a boxer, which means you train punching people, you can't go out punching civilians. If you're a fighter that trains punching, kicking, and choking people, you can't just do it to civilians because you're trained in combat. Now, you can defend yourself, but you can't just go out there putting the smackdown on motherfuckers because now everyone knows you can. And so she said he's not going to be punished based on his occupation, and she continued. She said, I don't care. He's going to be treated the same way as everybody else. Now, Diaz is accused of one count of battery constituting domestic violence by strangulation and a felony punishable by 1 to 5 years in prison, and one count of battery constituting domestic violence, a misdemeanor punishable by fines, counseling, and community service. So he's got that one charge on there that's the big deal that seems like the felony, and he could be going away for 1 to 5 years, worst case scenario in this situation. Now, part of the good news for Nick Diaz is the judge seems to have seen some inconsistencies in the alleged victim's report, which is why she didn't raise the bail. If she thought Nick Diaz was just out here going on rampage whooping bitches, she probably would have raised the bail to keep these women safe from if he was just out here whooping, just smacking bitches. But that's not the case. He's not out here. The Stockton slap didn't come from domestic violence. That came from slapping motherfuckers around in the UFC. These dudes are legit badasses that are not known to just go out here and start street fights. Oh, I mean, yeah, they get in their fair share of outside brawls, not in the streets though. Usually it seems like they're defending themselves or there's some shit going on, somebody popping off at the fucking mouth ringside. We have seen Nate Diaz, which is his brother, don't get it confused. We've seen Nate Diaz in a couple of those recently. The Clay Guida incident at the Combates card, where Clay Guida's crew and Nate Diaz's crew got into a little bit of the and then most recently at the BJJ tournament, Nate Diaz was caught on camera in a little bit of a situation there. But you have to imagine, these are public figures, and they're also trained. So if you got somebody invading their personal space, calling them out of their names, or if they even slightly touch them, these guys might defend themselves. And yeah, it's going to get bad for you if you fuck with a professional fighter. Sorry to tell you, if I go up to fucking Colby Covington, as much as you don't like him, if you go up to Colby Covington and say, hey, I don't like what you said about Brazil, and push him in the back, he's probably going to turn around and whoop your fucking ass if he can, because he's a professional fighter. Don't be stupid just because you feel like you know these people out in public. But with that being said, that's a whole nother topic. That's another topic for another day, just talking about how you should fucking approach a professional fighter in public, because so many people seem to not realize you probably shouldn't mess with a pro fighter unless you're willing to deal with the consequences. But this is a domestic situation here. This is an alleged crazy chick. I don't know her personally, but I do know Nick Diaz's homie and others have been coming out and kind of revealing the character of this chick. There's been videos coming out, there's been text messages from her friends, from their friends, multiple people an outcry of support for Nick Diaz, saying, yo, this chick's crazy. She's been doing this for 2 years. She's been trying to fuck up Nick Diaz. She's talked about channeling his fame into her career. There's a lot of people coming out and speaking up for Nick Diaz in this situation and this chick's mental health, as far as, people are saying he's dealing with a crazy bitch. And now, I've said this in the past, and I'll probably continue to say it in situations like this, because people can really use this advice. There's no law that says you can hit crazy bitches. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know shit happens sometimes, but the problem is, even if you're defending yourself, even if you're trying to get her out of your house and avoid the situation, if the police ever do show up and she's got a mark as little as a motherfucking bruise, it don't matter if you were just trying to escort her out of the house after she busted your shit, fucked up all your clothes, fucking hit you, all of this type of shit she can do. And if you don't call the police, which most men don't do, what the fuck I look like calling the police on my girl or this chick? You know, usually just as a man, like, man, fuck that, I can handle this situation. But what happens is when you try and escort her out of the house, or you even just try and stop her from breaking shit, if you leave as little as a fucking red mark on her arm and the police come out, you're both going to jail. And now imagine if it's more serious because she done pulled out a motherfucking knife or busted a glass over your motherfucking head or some crazy shit and you're bleeding or some shit at this point, and so you restrain her. And now the police show up, you know, and it got farther than you expected it to because you didn't even expect the police to come. Now you're in this fucking fucked up situation behind a crazy bitch. And that's why I say there's no law that says you can hit crazy bitches out here. As much as you're defending your own situation or what, it doesn't fucking matter. So that's the type of situation it seems like Nick Diaz could be in here. I'll definitely keep you guys updated with this situation, and hopefully we ain't gonna be screaming free Nick Diaz anytime soon. But with that being said, man, it is what it is. It's the channel's birthday. Happy birthday to the Full-Time family, Full-Time MMA, the channel. Let the Full-Time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the Full-Time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to become a Full-Time MMA blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, or black belt, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/fulltimemma. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.